Should a female child inherit her father's property, especially land? This has caused a whole lot of discussion, a whole lot of dragging, a whole lot of issues in various families, in various communities, in the society today. This is going to form the basis of our discussion this morning. And here in the studio today, I have two very distinguished guests. Eda and Adichie. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And we also have His Royal Majesty Eze Adolphus Prince Will. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, so we will be looking at this from various perspectives. What does the tradition say, sir, concerning this particular topic?
Which tradition?
Our tradition.
Our tradition.
Of course.
Okay, our tradition stipulates that the male child gets the inheritance from his parents. That's what our tradition stipulates.
All right. Okay. Religiously, because here in the part of the world where we find ourselves, so many people do a whole lot of things from the religious perspective. So, Ada, what does the religion say about this particular topic?
Which religion?
And that is what I still want to find
Okay, Christianity. Let us come down from let's localize to Christianity.
Okay.
Christianity, yeah.
For me, I know and believe that the Bible, which is the compass that is being used by Christians, does not support the female folk inheriting their father's assets. It is only meant for the male. And there are so many instances, even if you trace that from creation, which you can see from the first two chapters of Genesis. When you go there to go through the account of creation, you see that it was Adam that was made in the image of God. The true image of God was Adam. And Eve was made when God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he took a rib and made Eve. And that is why when Adam saw Eve for the very first time, he said, "This is the bone of my bones, the flesh of my flesh. She shall be called a woman because she was made out of me." So there is no way both of them can be equal in order to share assets. And not only that, we will still go on to other incidences that happen in the Bible. During census, men were not counted. No, women were not counted. It was only men alone. For instance, when Jesus fed the 5,000, the Bible records that 5,000 was only male. Women and children were not counted. In fact, the Bible portrays the fact that women are somehow insignificant. That's my opinion for that.
But does that make the female child, lesser being, or maybe not to be considered when it comes to inheriting her father's property?
Yes, because, according to the scriptures, what God recognizes most as the people that should continue in the longevity or genealogy of every set of people is the male. Because it is believed that after some time, the woman will marry and leave the family. So the father's property should not be given to somebody that will, after a while she will leave. And at the same time, she's going to enjoy her husband's own property there, and at the same time, coming to share his parents. I think that is why.
Okay, we'll come back to that to see to that particular question, so that we know what happens if at all maybe the family doesn't have a male child left. But let us just come from another angle, and that is the law. Okay, what does the law say about this topic?
Okay, the Nigerian law, as recorded in the Nigerian Constitution, 1999, stipulates in section 42, 1 and 2, that there should not be any form of discrimination on the basis of race and even gender. And 12 years ago, there was a ruling that states that nobody should discriminate against a female child when it comes to the inheritance of a father's property. So the position of the Nigerian law is that a woman is entitled to her father's estate.
But today, is that being implemented in so many cases?
It is not going to be possible for you to have total compliance, and I'm going to give you my reasons. First and foremost, before I go into that, I want to let you know this. I want us to answer this question: what is the purpose of passing on inheritance from the father to a child, to the children?
Okay, help us with the answers too.
There are three major reasons why we pass on inheritance from our father to children, or from parents to children. And number one is to ensure that there is a continuity
Yeah.
in the family name and the lineage. One is continuity. The second reason is to prevent strangers or other members of the family from inheriting the property of the person who is deceased. Two reasons. Then the third reason is to make sure that there is a startup capital for the children, so that they don't go broke. They have something to start up their life. These are the three major reasons why we give our heritage to our children. So now you find out that, like the elder said, the circumstance of surrounding the female child during marriage makes her incapable of playing the first role, which is the continuity of the family lineage. A male child is a person who is saddled with the responsibility, but he doesn't go, he doesn't leave, he stays.
And his name doesn't change.
Yes, the woman at some point leaves. So even if you give her the role, she can't play the role. Why? Because her allegiance changes once she gets married. She becomes submissive to her husband, not to her father. So you find out why I said that ruling will not hold water monetarily in our own climate. People will continue to give the major part of their heritage monetarily when it comes to land to the male child.
All right, Eda, what is the level of compliance on this law as we are discussing?
Like the last speaker had just said, most families and communities will not accept that, because I'm really sure it is against the existing tradition which we are used to. For instance, the passage of this law has caused so many litigations and quarrels in so many families. A situation where a married lady will come back to his father's house and begin to request that she be given her own portion from the father's property. There are so many litigations in that respect. And most times they abuse the privilege. Most of them are not even asking that they be given, maybe depending on the discretion of their male siblings. Rather, they ask for equal, while others are even trying to transform themselves to act the role of the first son of the family.
You may wonder why I'm laughing. This is around us, surrounding us, and that is why we are discussing this.
Yes.
Okay. In a situation where you have been given this privilege, or you've been given this right, you are trying to over-exercise it. Either you know why I'm laughing.
Yes,
okay?
I do.
There are certain circumstances, even around us here, as we are discussing this topic, which I know that some people who are involved might also come across this particular video. Okay, that is why I'm asking so under such condition, what should be done? How should it be handled?
For me, those women should be called to order. Because in as much as Igbo tradition is concerned, I wonder if it is possible to erase it from the minds of the people that a female child should not have a right to her father's asset. Because immediately she gets married, she has left the family, and she should focus her attention on her family. For instance, I'm not against maybe the male children in that family assisting their sisters when need be. If they are still in need, they can still give them certain properties to take care of themselves. Let it be a privilege and not a right. That is my take.
Okay, like I said, I was coming back to you. What happens if at the end of the day, the family doesn't have a male child again? So what should happen to the belongings, the property, the assets of that particular family?
For me, if it happens that the family doesn't have any male child, the female children or the female child in that family in order to ensure the continuity of the name of that family, should marry a woman and let her produce a male son that would answer the family's name in order to ensure that that family's name does not go into extinction.
Is that acceptable in the Christendom?
Yes, I don't think anything is bad about that. I don't think anything is bad about that.
What of traditionally? Is that accepted?
Of course.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. It
You
is.
can also adopt. If you don't want to marry a woman.
Okay, either by adoption
In the man's name.
Yes, in the man's name. In the man's name. Because if the female child allows the family name to go into extinction, where would she be going? Call her own home. For instance, in the Ngwa tradition, most times you see husband and wife quarrel for one thing or the other. The woman will leave the husband and wife and run back to her home. If nobody is there, where would the woman go to? In the first place, if some of the husbands discovers that you don't have any address, you don't have any home to go to, they are bound to maltreat you anyhow. So I think it's good and wise enough for married women, when such a situation arises, that they should make sure that they struggle to get a male child that will answer the family's name.
I have seen some circumstances where this is done, and over time, and some of these such begotten sons, nature and God always bless them, that they may become so wealthy and try to, start looking for certain positions, be it politically or, in the traditional setting, maybe to become chiefs, ezees, political leaders and all that. And you will hear somebody who knew about the process through which that son was got to raise his head and do what we call ekawara. So, Onyeze, what do we do in this situation?
I want you to recap the
Like,
situation.
And the elder has said, he has hinted on the process through which this continuity, should be followed. The adoption or marrying.
Yeah.
Let's assume that the female children, or even the man, when he saw that he wasn't strong enough, again, married, and everybody knew that this particular son that is coming from this woman, or the adopted son, is not the biological child of this man. And nature blesses these people, most of them. And when he raises and tries to maybe grab some political positions or leadership positions, so how should this be handled?
So what was the objective of adopting the child in the first place? The objective was for him to inherit the man's property.
Of course.
The question is, has he inherited the man's property?
Of course.
Yes. So caravan moves dogs back. So you understand?
I do.
The objective has been actualized.
Actualized.
So if you want to be making noise, as long as he owns the man's property, what's the point in killing yourself?
And not only that, you see that when such a thing happens in a family, maybe in a village setting or community, most people who are close to the family will be planning on how to inherit those, take over those properties. Yeah. So they will be somehow disappointed. Yes. When all of a sudden somebody
has
that is just it. And that will be the essence of the so-called Awara you're talking about.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we are discussing might be applicable in your own family. It is something that goes on everywhere, especially in this African setting, Nigeria and Abia State, where we operate from. So we want you to tell us in the comment section, how is this done in your place? How should it be? Should a woman inherit her father's property, especially land? And you tell us your reasons. Thank you so very much, and God bless you.
Face to face, now they read my eyes. We they talk with the young, things where they touch you.